The way to taste wine is this. You put a bit in your glass. You're going to give it a little look, okay? This wine, it looks a little bit kind of pale, right? It's kind of pale pinky. It looks a bit sort of, you know, strawberry candy kind of tinted. That's nice. So you know it's a rosé. You've done that, but we can do a little bit better than that, all right? You put it in your nose, give it a little swirl around, get those aromas going, as I say, and then put it up to your nose. And then as you're sniffing it, the first concepts of what you get, the first ideas that come to your mind are usually the right ones. So when I sniff this, I get sort of strawberries, I get raspberries, I get sort of cranberry sort of things going on. There's a little bit of peachy sort of aromas to it. And we talked a bit about how wine is as much about what you're actually smelling as it is about the memories it conjures up. Wine is also massively about your first impression, your gut feel about what it looks like, how it makes you feel when you taste it. Does it make you feel happy and elevated and excited and sort of joyous, or does it make you feel a bit sort of, it's brooding and serious and makes you feel like a banker? You know, wine is as much about trying to conjure up emotions and feelings in you as it is about what's actually in it. And when that turns up and it's light and pale pink and beautiful, and you pour it into the glass and it smells like peaches and strawberries and raspberries, and it's citrusy and zesty and mouth-watering and refreshing, it for me just conjures up, yachts and sunshine and happiness, and it sort of screams sort of success, basically. It's sort of happy people living in beautiful villas. And so that is what Provence Rosé is all about. It's grown from some grapes called Grenache. It's got a little grape called Cinsault. It's got something called Syrah in it. So these are all grapes that are grown down on the Mediterranean coast in the south of France, where it's very hot and steep slopes. And what they then do is the winemakers pick parcels of those different bits of fruit from different vineyards and then blend them together once they've fermented them. So it's a blend of different grapes. I wanted to pick a New Zealand Savion Blanc because this is a wine that lots of people will be familiar with because it's ubiquitous and it's all around the place. But I wanted to pick it from a slightly different region in New Zealand and a different producer. So Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc is based on the South Island of New Zealand. New Zealand is two very long, thin islands separated by the Cook Strait, a very sort of small, very choppy body of water. And Marlborough is in the very top right-hand corner of that South Island. The difference between the islands is broadly that the North Island's a bit warmer and the South Island's a bit colder. We are quite a long way away from the equator here, a bit closer than we are in Europe to the equator, so it's a bit warmer, but it also has very cold night times. New Zealand in general basically has what, you know, technically is called diurnal range for all the big fans out there of geekery. And diurnal range is very cold night times, very hot daytimes, and the difference between day and night temperature. And New Zealand having a very big difference between day and night temperature is one of the reasons why it's one of the best places in the world to grow grapes. What you get is you get sunshine that ripens the grapes and builds flavors and sugars and makes them really delicious, lovely, lovely, lovely fruity wines. And then at nighttime it gets really cold and that stops them ripening. It's like chucking something in the freezer. It stops it dead, cools it down again. And what happens is that the wines then preserve their acidity. They don't get overripe and soft and just too fruity. They retain this really zesty, mouth-watering acidity, which is what in cold climates. So this wonderful balance of the two things is what makes New Zealand relatively unique. So what I've done with the red wine is I wanted to pick a red that is full-bodied. You know, it's a red wine that most people are going to go, yeah, that tastes like a red wine. Red wine goes from really light, fresh wines all the way up really heavy, tannic, full-bodied things. This is about 2/3 of the way up that spectrum, and this is a pretty full-bodied red wine, but it's not too heavy. This comes from Argentina. We haven't been over that side of the world just yet, so we're now moving out to South America. Argentina is one of the world's great wine-producing countries, and it's very, very special and unique.